The Forgotten Guardian. The quantum crystals hummed their endless song in the depths of the void fortress, their purple light casting strange shadows through the energy barriers of Lyra Valerian's cell. She sat motionless, her silvery eyes fixed on the distant stars visible through the small window slit, the same stars she had once sworn to protect as a celestial guardian. 10 years. 10 years since the Nexus Empire had begun their purge of the Guardians. 10 years since she had watched her fellow protectors fall one by one, betrayed by those they had sworn to defend. Now she was the last, kept alive as a trophy of the Emperor's victory over the Ancient Order. The crystal's song changed pitch, something was different. In a decade of imprisonment, Lyra had learned to read the subtle variations in their resonance. Someone unauthorized was approaching, moving through the supposedly impenetrable security systems of the fortress. Heavy boots echoed down the corridor, but not with the precise rhythm of the Empire's guards. These footsteps were purposeful but casual, almost insolent in their confidence. A figure appeared before her cell, tall, wearing armor unlike anything in the Empire's arsenal. The helmet retracted, revealing a face that made Lyra's breath catch in her throat. Human. It couldn't be. They had been wiped out in the Great Purge centuries ago, their resistance to imperial rule making them the first target of the Empire's expansion. Yet here one stood, wearing a slight smirk that suggested he was exactly where he planned to be. Guardian Valerian, he said, his voice carrying none of the reverence her title once commanded. I'm Marcus Drake. Your cell service has been terminated. Before Lyra could respond, Marcus pressed a device against the energy barrier. The quantum crystals screamed in protest as their harmonics were disrupted, their purple glow flickering and dying. The barrier shattered like glass, though no sound accompanied its breaking. How? Lyra demanded, rising on legs weak from disuse. The barriers are keyed to imperial quantum signatures. No other race has mastered Dash. Yeah, about that, Marcus cut in, checking a holographic display on his wrist. Turns out when you drive a species underground, they get really good at figuring out their oppressors' weaknesses. We have about 3 minutes before the primary systems reboot. Lyra hesitated. This had to be a trick, another of the Emperor's cruel tests. But something in the human's eyes, a fierce determination she hadn't seen since her fellow guardians fell, made her want to believe. The Empire destroyed Earth, she said. I watched the historical records. Marcus grinned. The Empire destroyed what we wanted them to see. Now are you coming, or would you prefer another decade of quantum crystal karaoke? An alarm began to wail, distant but growing closer. Marcus cursed under his breath and tossed her a small device. Put this on. It'll mask your guardian energy signature. Lyra caught it, feeling the sophisticated technology hum against her palm. This was no crude resistance tool, this was centuries beyond what even the Empire possessed. She slipped it onto her wrist, watching as her natural aura, visible to her guardian senses, seemed to vanish. This is impossible, she whispered. Lady, impossible is what humans do best. Now run. They sprinted through the corridors of the Void Fortress, Marcus somehow knowing exactly which turns to take. Guards appeared ahead, Marcus raised his hand and a pulse of energy sent them flying without even touching them. More impossible technology. The Empire said humans couldn't handle quantum manipulation, Lyra gasped as they ran. That your bodies would burn out. The Empire, Marcus replied, pausing to check another corner, says a lot of things. Mostly propaganda. Mostly wrong. They emerged onto a landing platform high above the fortress's quantum core. Far below, the massive crystals pulsed with enough energy to power a small sun. A sleek ship waited, its design unlike anything Lyra had seen in her centuries of existence. That's not possible, she said again, the words becoming a mantra. The atmospheric shields dash. Are down, Marcus finished. Have been for about 30 seconds. Amazing what can happen when you have a few centuries to study your enemy's weaknesses. The guards were getting closer. Lyra could hear them, their boots thundering against the metal floors. This was the moment: trust this impossible human or remain a prisoner forever. She ran for the ship. The interior was as advanced as the exterior suggested, but with a distinct style that spoke of neither Imperial nor Guardian design philosophy. As soon as they were aboard, Marcus's hands flew across the controls. The ship lifted off just as the first energy bolts struck the platform. "They'll pursue," Lyra said, strapping herself into an acceleration chair. "The Void Fortress has a fleet of Dash." The ship shot forward with impossible speed, but Lyra felt no acceleration. Another innovation that shouldn't exist. Through the view screen, she watched the fortress shrink to a dot, then vanish entirely as some kind of stealth system engaged. "They can try," Marcus said, finally relaxing slightly. "But they won't find us. Humans have gotten pretty good at hiding in the last few centuries." Lyra studied him, really looked at him for the first time. There was power there, but not like a Guardian's natural energy or the Empire's quantum technology. This was something else entirely. "Why?" she asked finally. "Why risk everything to free one forgotten Guardian?" Marcus's expression grew serious. "Because the Empire's getting ready to launch something big. Something that'll make the Guardian Purge look like a practice run. And we're going to need your help to stop it." He pressed a button and a holographic display filled the cabin. Lyra's eyes widened as she saw images of massive fleets hiding in dimensional pockets, of weapons that shouldn't exist, of armies being gathered in secret. "Welcome to the Resistance, Guardian Valerian," Marcus said. "Turns out humanity didn't just survive, we thrived. And now it's time to show the Empire exactly what happens when you try to wipe out the wrong species." The ship slipped into quantum space, leaving behind the prison that had held Lyra for so long. As the familiar stars streaked past, she felt something she hadn't experienced in a decade: hope. The Empire thought they had broken the last Guardian. They thought they had exterminated humanity. They were wrong on both counts. And soon, they would learn just how wrong they were. Echoes of Earth. The quantum drive hummed softly as Marcus's ship cut through the fabric of spacetime. Lyra sat in the co-pilot's seat, watching the swirling patterns of interdimensional travel through the view screen. Her mind was still trying to process everything that had happened in the last few hours: her rescue, the impossible human technology, the revelation that humanity had not only survived but flourished in secret. "We're being followed," she said quietly, her Guardian senses picking up the distinctive ripple of Imperial pursuit ships entering quantum space behind them. Marcus didn't seem concerned. "They always follow. They never catch up." His fingers danced across the holographic controls, making minute adjustments to their course. "The Empire thinks quantum space works one way. We found another." As if to prove his point, the ship suddenly dove deeper into quantum space, the swirling patterns outside shifting from their usual blue to a deep violet. The Imperial signatures behind them faded completely. "That's not possible," Lyra said, then caught herself. She'd been saying that a lot lately. "The deeper quantum layers are unstable. No ship can survive Dash." "Imperial ships can't survive," Marcus corrected. "Their quantum drives are too rigid, too dependent on perfect mathematical harmony. We learned to surf the chaos instead of fighting it." The ship emerged from quantum space into a region Lyra had never seen before. A massive dust cloud stretched across the stars, its particles shimmering with an inner light that shouldn't exist in natural space. "Welcome to the Twilight Nebula," Marcus said, pride evident in his voice. "Or as we call it, New Soul." As they flew deeper into the cloud, Lyra began to make out shapes in the dust, asteroids that moved in two perfect patterns, flashes of energy that spoke of hidden activity. Then the dust parted, and she gasped. A massive station hung in space, its architecture unlike anything in Imperial or Guardian design. It flowed like liquid metal, its surfaces constantly shifting and adapting. Around it, ships of various sizes moved with precision, their designs as advanced as Marcus's vessel. "How many?" she whispered. 100,000 on this station alone. We have dozens more settlements scattered throughout the galaxy, all hidden in places the Empire thinks are uninhabitable. Marcus guided the ship toward a docking bay that seemed to form itself out of the station's fluid surface. Turns out humans are really good at living where we're not supposed to. As they docked, Lyra noticed something else, energy signatures, but not quantum-based like the Empire's technology. This was something different, something that reminded her of Guardian energy, she said, turning to Marcus. "You're using Guardian principles in your technology." "But that's impossible, the Empire destroyed all our archives." Marcus's expression grew serious. "Not all of them. Some Guardians saw what was coming. They helped us hide, taught us their secrets. We combined their wisdom with our innovation." He stood up as the ship settled into its berth. "There's someone you need to meet." The interior of the station was a marvel of engineering. Corridors shifted and reformed based on need, lights adjusted automatically to each species' optimal wavelength, and everywhere Lyra looked she saw impossible combinations of Guardian principles and human ingenuity. They entered a large chamber that seemed to be a command center. In the middle stood a holographic display of the galaxy, with countless points of light marking what Lyra realized must be hidden human settlements. But her attention was drawn to the figure studying the display. An elderly woman turned to face them, her white hair contrasting sharply with dark skin marked by age and wisdom. But it was her eyes that caught Lyra's attention, they held the same silvery gleam as her own. "Impossible," Lyra whispered for what felt like the 100th time. "You say that a lot," Marcus commented with a smirk. The woman stepped forward, and Lyra felt the unmistakable presence of Guardian energy. "I am Elena Santos," she said, her voice carrying the weight of centuries. "The last Guardian instructor, and the first human to successfully merge Guardian energy with human physiology." Lyra's mind reeled. The implications were staggering. "You found a way to bridge the gap between human potential and Guardian power?" Elena smiled. "It nearly killed me. But humans are stubborn, and necessity is a harsh teacher. When the Empire began their purge, we had to adapt or die. So we adapted." She gestured at the holographic display, which zoomed in to show detailed scans of Imperial fleet movements. "The Empire thinks they're hunting us. In reality, we've been watching them for centuries, learning their weaknesses, preparing for the right moment." "And now is that moment?" Lyra asked. Elena's expression grew grave. "The Empire has found something in the Outer Rim, ancient technology that predates even the Guardians. They believe it will give them the power to purge not just resistance, but to reshape reality itself." Marcus stepped forward. "That's why we broke you out. You're not just the last Guardian, you're the last one who might know what this technology is and how to stop it." Lyra studied the scans, her ancient knowledge stirring. "These energy signatures. I've seen them before, in the oldest Guardian archives. We called it the Nexus Key." "What is it?" Marcus asked. "A mistake," Lyra replied, her voice hard. "A weapon created by beings who thought they could play with the fundamental forces of reality. The Guardians were formed to ensure it could never be used again." Elena nodded grimly. "And now the Empire has found it. They plan to activate it within the month. Then why are we standing here?" Lyra demanded. "We have to stop them." "Not yet," Marcus said. "First, you need to see what we've really been building out here in the dark. Because stopping the Empire isn't enough, we need to make sure nothing like them can ever rise again." He led them to another chamber, this one sealed behind security measures that made Imperial systems look primitive. As the doors opened, Lyra saw row after row of training areas, where humans were practicing with Guardian energy, combining it with their technology in ways she had never imagined possible. "Welcome to the future," Elena said softly. Humanity in Guardian, science and spirit, combined into something new. Something powerful enough to reshape the galaxy. Lyra watched as a young trainee created constructs of pure energy, guided them with mechanical precision, and then dissolved them back into quantum potential. It was Guardian power, but controlled with human innovation and creativity. The Empire thinks they're about to achieve ultimate power, Marcus said, his voice carrying a hint of satisfaction. They have no idea what's really coming for them. As Lyra watched the display of power before her, she felt something she hadn't experienced since before her imprisonment: purpose. The Empire had tried to destroy both her people and humanity. Instead, they had forced them to evolve into something stronger. The last Guardian and the hidden humans. It wasn't the alliance anyone had expected, but it might be exactly what the galaxy needed. "When do we start?" she asked. Hidden warriors. The training chamber erupted in a dazzling display of energy as Lyra demonstrated ancient Guardian combat forms. Around her, 24 human students watched intently, their own Guardian-enhanced abilities humming just beneath the surface. It had been 3 days since her rescue, and each moment revealed new surprises about humanity's evolution. "The key is not to force the energy," she explained, weaving patterns of light with graceful movements. "You must let it flow naturally, like dash." A blaring alarm cut through the lesson. Marcus burst into the chamber, his expression grim. "We've got trouble. Elena needs everyone in the command center. Now." In the command center, Elena stood before the holographic display, her face illuminated by the red glow of warning signals. A massive Imperial fleet was emerging from quantum space, but not near their location. "They're attacking the Meridian colony," Elena announced as they entered. 300 ships, including 2 Titan-class destroyers. Lyra's heart sank. Meridian? But there's nothing out there except dash. She stopped, realization dawning. "It's a civilian colony, isn't it?" Marcus nodded grimly. 10,000 settlers. Families. Children. They're not fighters. "The Empire must have detected their quantum signature," Elena said, her fingers dancing across the holographic controls. "Our stealth systems aren't perfect, especially around larger populations." "We have to help them," Lyra insisted. "That's exactly what the Empire wants," Marcus replied. "They're trying to draw us out, force us to reveal our true strength before we're ready." Elena's silver eyes flashed. "We didn't hide for 3 centuries just to watch innocent people die." She turned to address the gathered commanders. "Launch the Ghost Fleet." The command center burst into activity. Through the station's massive windows, Lyra watched in awe as previously invisible ships seemed to materialize from nowhere. Dozens, then hundreds of vessels, their designs an elegant fusion of Guardian aesthetics and human innovation. "You had these hidden here the whole time?" she asked. Marcus smiled grimly. "Lady, you haven't seen anything yet." He turned to Elena. "Permission to lead the vanguard?" Elena nodded. "Granted. Take Lyra with you, it's time the Empire learned their trophy has some fight left in her." Aboard Marcus's command ship, Lyra felt the familiar thrum of quantum drives powering up, but there was something different about these engines. The energy signature was masked, twisted in ways that shouldn't be possible. "Quantum shadow drives," Marcus explained as they prepared to jump. "We don't just hide in normal space anymore. We can move through quantum space without leaving a trace." The fleet entered quantum space in perfect synchronization, their modified drives allowing them to dive deeper than any Imperial vessel could follow. Through the viewscreen, Lyra watched the familiar blue swirls of quantum space shift to violet, then to colors she had no names for. "How long until we reach Meridian?" she asked. "That's the best part," Marcus replied with a grin. "We're already here." The fleet emerged from quantum space directly behind the Imperial Armada. For a moment, there was perfect stillness, the Empire's ships frozen in surprise at the impossible appearance of hundreds of advanced vessels. Then all hell broke loose. The Ghost Fleet opened fire with weapons that defied conventional physics. Beams of twisted quantum energy phased through Imperial shields as if they didn't exist. Smaller craft demonstrated maneuvers that should have torn them apart, their hulls flowing and reforming like liquid metal. Impossible, Lyra whispered, but this time with admiration rather than disbelief. Marcus's hands flew across the controls, orchestrating the battle like a conductor leading a symphony of destruction. Humans got really good at impossible. Had to survive. On the main viewer, Lyra watched as Imperial ships tried to adapt their tactics, only to find that each response had already been anticipated. Centuries of studying their enemy had taught humanity exactly how the Empire would react. Their quantum cores are destabilizing, Lyra observed, her guardian senses detecting the fluctuations in enemy ships. How? Remember that guardian principle about harmonic resonance? Marcus asked, not taking his eyes off the battle. Turns out it works really well when you want to disrupt Imperial technology. They based their whole civilization on quantum harmony. We learned to weaponize discord. A massive explosion lit up space as one of the Titan-class destroyers succumbed to the quantum disruption, its core collapsing in on itself. The second Titan was already retreating, along with what remained of the Imperial fleet. But something wasn't right. Lyra felt it in her guardian senses, a disturbance in the quantum field that didn't match the chaos of battle. Marcus, she said urgently. They're scanning us. Not our ships, they're scanning our energy signatures. Marcus cursed. They're not here to destroy the colony. This was a data-gathering mission. They wanted to see what we could do. Elena's voice came through the command channel. All ships, prepare for immediate quantum shadow jump. They got what they came for, we can't let them track us back to the other colonies. As the Ghost Fleet prepared to retreat, Lyra studied the tactical display. The Empire had sacrificed a significant force just to gather intelligence on human capabilities. That meant they're scared, she realized. For the first time in centuries, the Empire is truly afraid. Marcus's expression was grim but satisfied. Good. They should be. Because now they know we're coming for them. He paused, then added, but that's not what really scares them. What does? They know we have you. Marcus met her gaze. The last Guardian, whose knowledge of the Nexus key might be the only thing standing between them and total control of reality itself. And they know we're not going to wait around for them to figure out how to use it. The fleet vanished back into quantum shadow space, leaving behind a graveyard of Imperial ships and a very clear message: humanity was done hiding. As they traveled through the impossible colors of deep quantum space, Lyra felt a shift in the energy around her. The Empire had revealed their desperation, but they had also forced humanity's hand. The real war was about to begin. The Nexus Protocol. Deep within the quantum-shielded archives of the human resistance base, Lyra stood before a holographic representation of the Nexus key. The ancient weapon's complex geometries rotated slowly in the air, its theoretical energy patterns matching the whispered warnings in her oldest memories. It was never meant to exist, she said softly, as Elena and Marcus studied the display beside her. The beings who created it thought they could control the quantum foundation of reality itself. They were wrong. And now the Empire thinks they can succeed where the ancients failed, Elena added, her silver eyes reflecting the hologram's glow. Our deep cover agents report they're already building the activation chamber. Marcus leaned forward, his expression troubled. How long? 3 days, Elena replied. Maybe 4. They're pushing their scientists to the breaking point. Lyra waved her hand through the hologram, adjusting its configuration. They don't understand. The key doesn't just manipulate reality, it rewrites the fundamental laws of existence. If they make even a small mistake, they'll tear the universe apart, Marcus finished. Yeah, we got that part. What we need is a way to stop them. A new alert flashed across the archive screens. Elena's face hardened as she read the incoming data. The Empire just launched a simultaneous attack on 3 of our outer colonies. They're trying to split our forces. No, Lyra corrected, her guardian senses picking up patterns in the quantum disturbances. They're trying to mask something bigger. She pointed to a seemingly empty sector of space. Their main fleet is gathering here, in the Shadow Rift. Marcus whistled. That's suicide. Nothing survives in the rift. The quantum storms dash. Are the perfect cover, Elena interrupted. They know we can track their quantum signatures, so they're hiding where the background noise will mask their movements. She turned to Lyra. Can you find the key's location in their data? Lyra closed her eyes, reaching out with senses honed by millennia of Guardian training. The Empire's quantum signatures were like bright threads in the darkness, each one leading. There. The Obsidian Throne. Their capital ship. Marcus brought up tactical displays showing the Empire's known fleet positions. They're going to activate the key on their flagship. That's not their style. They prefer planet-based installations for their superweapons. Because this isn't about weaponry, Lyra realized. The Emperor wants to be there personally. He wants to be the one who reshapes reality. She faced her companions. We have to stop him. Not just the key, all of it. The Empire, the oppression, the fear. It ends now. Elena smiled, but there was steel in her expression. That's why we've been preparing Protocol Lazarus. Screens lit up around them, showing massive ships emerging from hidden docks throughout the station. But these weren't like the Ghost Fleet vessels. These ships seemed to drink in light itself, their surfaces rippling with barely contained power. Guardian-class dreadnoughts, Elena explained. The pinnacle of human engineering and Guardian principles combined. We've been building them in secret for 50 years. Marcus stared at the vessels with a mix of awe and concern. Those aren't just warships. They're planet killers, Lyra whispered. You've created weapons that could shatter worlds. No, Elena corrected. We've created ships that can rewrite the rules of engagement. The Empire thinks they know what we're capable of after that skirmish at Meridian. They have no idea what's really coming for them. The dreadnoughts moved into formation, their quantum shadow drives humming with power that made Lyra's guardian senses tingle. This was beyond anything she had imagined humans achieving, a perfect fusion of ancient wisdom and human innovation. Every ship carries a crew of Guardian-trained humans, Elena continued. They can't match your raw power, but they make up for it with creativity and determination. And now. She gestured to Lyra. They have a true Guardian to lead them. Marcus checked his tactical displays again. The Empire's fleet will reach activation position in 6 hours. Even with the dreadnoughts, we're outnumbered 5-1. Lyra watched the massive ships, remembering the oath she had taken so long ago, to protect all life in the galaxy, not just from external threats, but from its own worst impulses. Numbers didn't save them at Meridian. They'll be ready for our quantum disruption tactics this time, Marcus warned. Good. Elena's smile was fierce. Let them prepare for what they think we can do. They won't be ready for what we're actually capable of. She turned to Lyra. You've seen humanity at our lowest, hunted, hidden, surviving in the shadows. Now you'll see us at our finest. Warning klaxons sounded throughout the station. On the tactical displays, the Empire's fleet was moving faster than predicted, pushing their ships to dangerous speeds. They know we're coming, Marcus said. Of course they do. Elena's voice was calm. They think they're ready for us. That's exactly what we want them to think. She opened a channel to the gathered dreadnoughts. All ships, prepare for Protocol Lazarus. Today we stop hiding. Today we show the Empire why they were right to fear humanity in the first place. Lyra felt the station's energy shift as battle preparations began. Around her, humans moved with practiced precision, their guardian-enhanced abilities humming just beneath the surface. This was what the Empire had created when they tried to destroy humanity, a species that had taken their greatest weakness and turned it into their greatest strength. The Emperor thinks the Nexus key will give him control over reality, Lyra said, watching the dreadnoughts power up their impossible weapons. He's about to learn that reality has other plans. Marcus checked his weapons, ready to remind the Empire why they should have finished the job when they had the chance. Lyra's silver eyes glowed with power. They're about to learn that some things are better left in the shadows. And some things. She smiled. Some things evolve in the dark. End.